Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be talking about sexual arousal. So first, I want you guys to take a look at this picture over here and just take a guess as to what the triangles and circles represent. I'll give you guys a second to do that real quickly. Okay, so if you guys guessed a type of receptor, you would be correct. And more specifically, if you guessed estrogen and progesterone receptors, you would be spot on. So basically, let's talk about what is sexual arousal. Sexual arousal is defined as the state in preparation for sexual activity. So remember that or is, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Sexual arousal occurs in all animals, and it's one of our most fundamental needs as one of our basic functions as a human being is to reproduce. Sexual arousal is quite normal and occurs in mostly post-pubescent um, stages in humans. So that's basically after puberty or during puberty, right? And the reason for this is because during puberty, we start expressing more of what's known as sex hormones. So, sex hormones are basically there are quite a few sex hormones, but the ones that we're going to focus on today are the ones produced by the one most predominantly produced by females is estrogen and progesterone, and in males is testosterone. Oops. I'm just going to color code it. I'm not because it's easier to remember that way. So for males, it is testosterone. So remember that these are actually expressed in your genitalia as well as in your brain everywhere, right? So for females, the sex hormone estrogen is primarily produced by your ovaries, and in males, testosterone is produced by your testicles. And these are hormones that circulate through your bloodstream and account for a lot of bodily functions, particularly of the reproductive nature. For example, estrogen increases, it basically is responsible for increasing the things that we associate with femininity. In other words, it increases your breast size, it increases your it basically regulates your menstrual cycle. For men, testosterone is associated with increased masculine features. For example, it increases your sexual drive, and it's very important to regulate your testosterone cycle, which fluctuates every 90 minutes, right? So that's the importance of sex hormones. You need to understand that they regulate sexual functions in the body. So, why are sex hormones important? Well, sex hormones are actually the internal cues that go off in the body. Remember in the last video, we talked a lot about the internal or external cues. So, these sex hormones are released either are an internal change in the body that occurs due to external stimuli of sexual stimulation, right? So when a person is sexually stimulated, um, that can actually, remember, that's an external stimulus. I'm going to actually flip the arrow because that's when a person is sexually stimulated, they are going to release estrogen and progesterone. um, in females, they're testosterone, which goes and binds to multiple different regions in the brain as demonstrated here, thus inducing the state of arousal. So the reason why that's important is because estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone have been shown to have a lot of interactions with the neurotransmitters, um, GABA. Sorry, I'm going to change my color. They've been shown to have interactions with GABA, dopamine, serotonin, um, and so many more, right? And additionally, there are receptors in your prefrontal cortex, your hippocampus, your brainstem, and most interestingly, deep brain structures such as which are associated with motivation and reward, such as your nucleus accumbens, also have sexual arousal receptors for these sex hormones, which basically shows that sex hormones in this case are the way to initiate the state of arousal. So, in the most simplest terms, sexual arousal is different from regular arousal as it is initiated by sex hormones. That is the thing you need to take away from this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that answered your questions. Have a good day, everyone.